All right, so I'm gonna go over the 7 best $1 million one-person business ideas, and these are ideas that actually work, right? This is what people are actually doing online to make a ton of money. And the reason I know this is because I work with a bunch of people in all of these different niches. And what I do is I teach them how to start profitable YouTube channels. And so I kind of have a behind the scenes look at their back end numbers, and I know what everybody is making. Then on top of that, I also started several different business models, and I started my own profitable YouTube channel as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in right now with number one on the list, the growth partner model. So this is actually a relatively new business model, and it's one of my favorites. I think it's actually really good. And essentially what this is it's kind of like a social media marketing agency, except you get a percentage of the cut, right? So you essentially partner with a business, maybe like a big YouTuber, right? Because a lot of YouTubers are absolutely terrible at monetizing. So they have this gigantic audience and they're terrible at monetizing it. And what you do is you partner with this YouTuber and you teach them how to actually monetize their content, and you actually just do it for them. And then you get a percentage of the cut. And in some cases, you might even get equity in their business, depending on what type of business it is. Now, I've done this exact model. I'm a growth partner with Course Careers, for instance. It's a big company. And yeah, it is a really, really good model. It's a great way to make money. You get a bigger cut typically. It is one of those things where you typically don't charge up front. So if you don't deliver results, you're not going to get paid. And so there is a lot of pressure on you to deliver results. But with that being said, if you can deliver results, you make far, far more than you would with an agency model. So another thing about this is with an agency model, you can work with a bunch of different clients. But with a growth partner model, you really want to focus on just a few really, really good clients. That's typically what growth partners do. They might only have one client, honestly, but sometimes maybe you'll have like 2 or 3 really, really good clients that you can make a ton of money from. So I've seen a ton of people making a lot of money with this. There's this channel, The Growth Partner. It's actually a really good channel. I believe they were the first ones who really started talking about the subject. I could be wrong, but with that being said, a lot of other people are now talking about it as well. So like Serge Guattari, for instance, he talks about the growth partner model. I don't know if he's just using that as a word though, like a fancy buzzword, or whether he actually teaches that. But yeah, these are 2 guys that, talk about growth partner. There's a lot of other guys that have popped up recently talking about the growth partner model. It is a really good model, honestly. I'm not going to lie. Now, with that being said, pretty much no business owner is going to partner with you if you don't have some experience, if you don't have some proof that you can actually get them results. But it is a little bit more attractive in many ways than the agency model because they don't really have to pay that much up front, typically. You get a cut of the revenue, maybe you get 15% of whatever the revenue is, and that's that. It's a high risk, high reward type of thing. If you can deliver results, you're gonna make a ton of money, and if you don't deliver results, you're probably not gonna make very much money. So yeah, growth partner model, really like it. I think it's phenomenal. That's number 1 on the list. Number 2 on the list is going to be content creation. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this one because this is what I do personally. So not just content creation, but specifically YouTube, because YouTube is without a doubt the best form of content creation. It's the most profitable platform. There's no other platform where people are making $100 million a year. In fact, there's probably no other platform where people are even making $50 million a year. YouTube, though, has many, many people making tens of millions of dollars a year, even $100 million a year. So YouTube is without a doubt the most profitable platform, not only from an AdSense perspective, but also the types of monetization that you can do on YouTube. So content creation, phenomenal. This is what I teach my clients. I typically work with consultants, coaches, online service providers, agencies, growth partners, and content creators that don't know how to make money, right? Content creators who already have an audience, but they don't know how to make money. So those are the types of people that I typically work with. Again, if you want to book a call, the link will be down in the description in the pinned comment below. This is the one that I recommend most on the list because if you think about it, literally every other person that I'm recommending on this list actually does this. And this is the primary way that they make their money. Now, some of them admit it. Some of them are open and honest about it. Others kind of don't, right? They're not very transparent about it. But the true way they're making money and getting clients is not cold outreach or cold email or cold calling or running paid ads. Like 99% of the time, they're getting the majority of their clients either directly or indirectly through content, and specifically content on YouTube, because YouTube is the most profitable platform. So just throwing that out there. Next one on the list is going to be Twitter ghostwriting, or just writing in general. There's many different ways you can make money as a writer. You could also be an email marketer and kind of be like an email marketing agency or that kind of thing. But Twitter ghostwriting is a really good one. And this is essentially where you partner with someone who doesn't have time to tweet all day, and you kind of understand and absorb their philosophy. Maybe they have a book, maybe they have courses, maybe they have lots of videos, or other types of content that you can absorb. And then you can make tweets out of it, right? After you kind of have plugged your brain into their brain, you can make tweets out of it. And yeah, this is a really good model. Dakota Robertson talks about this quite a bit, like lots of different writing models. He's got a really good channel, really good Twitter as well. Another person who talks about this quite a bit is Dan Koe. He talks about writing and how it's the one skill that, you know, really helps with every other skill, because it allows you to kind of synthesize your thoughts, and you can kind of write and send it out over your newsletter. Then you can turn that newsletter into a YouTube video, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, Dan Koe, you know, he really blew up talking about that as well. And writing is honestly really enjoyable. There's something extremely enjoyable about writing, putting your thoughts down on paper, synthesizing thoughts and other people's thoughts into your own sort of logic. And yeah, it's really good. You know, I write when I do my YouTube videos a lot of the time, and it's really good. And there's many different ways you can make money from it. So some sort of writing would be number 3 on the list. Definitely like that one. Number 4 is going to be Iman Gadzhi's favorite business model, which is, of course, SMMA. And he even made a video where he talks about the best online business to start as a beginner. And thanks to Iman Gadzhi, there's like tens of thousands of new people coming into SMMA all the time, because every 3 months the world is ending and he does a webinar or a challenge or something that helps people, you know, survive the end of the world by starting an SMMA somehow. But yeah, really good marketer. Yeah, SMMA is the next one. Now, of course, Iman Gadzhi doesn't do SMMA himself because it's not a scalable business model, but he does teach other people how to get into it. And it's not a bad business to get into if you're a complete beginner, especially if you don't have any skills. Now, if you actually already have skills, you already have experience, you're already an expert at something, I highly recommend doing a different business model, because there's a lot of downsides to SMMA and other types of agencies. It's a lot of work. It's not very scalable. There's a lot of client churn. I mean, it's just really stressful. And if you don't believe me, if you've ever hung out with business people, go hang out with agency owners. They're almost always like the most stressed people you'll ever meet. I've gone to business conferences that have all different types of business owners, and agency owners are the most stressed out of all of them. And a lot of the time what happens is you'll start off doing an agency, make your first little bit of money, and then you'll transition into kind of either straight up coaching or consulting, or a hybrid offer where you still do a little bit of the agency stuff, but you're now doing a hybrid offer. And that's exactly what I do as well when I'm teaching people how to grow and make money on YouTube. So yeah, agency is good. There's a lot of other channels that talk about this. Thomas Gannett, he barely ever posts, but he talks about how to open an agency. You know, tons and tons of these channels. Some of the OGs are like Eric Sue. He has a great podcast. Him and Neil Patel have a great podcast talking about agency stuff. And yeah, he's got a great channel as well, YouTube, and he's an agency owner that, you know, makes like tens of millions of dollars a year with his agency. Neil Patel has an agency that makes like, I think 80 million or 100 million a year. But I use the word agency lightly because it's more of a growth partner type of thing. But yeah, these guys, you know, started off with an agency world as well. And, you know, getting started with SMMA, there's literally like free courses on how to do SMA. Here's an 8-hour course, right? This is an 8-hour course completely for free. Here's a 12-hour course completely free. You know, there's tons and tons of content on how to get started with an SMMA online. And I do think it's a good business model for beginners. I really do. Chances are you're going to want to transition out of it, but I think it's great for beginners, because if you don't have any skills and you don't have any proof that you've got the skills, you either put up or shut up. You know, it's a done for you type offer. You can either do it for them or you can't do it for them. And it's a lot easier to sell a done for you offer than it is to sell a done with you offer like coaching, especially if you don't have the skills. Speaking of coaching, next one is going to be coaching and consulting. Now, what exactly is the difference? They're essentially the same thing when you're talking about the online business world. Coaching generally refers to non-corporate types of teaching people how to do something. And then consulting, generally speaking, refers to corporate type of teaching people how to do something. So you're typically working with like big businesses. So yeah, either of them are really at the end of the day the same thing. And Sam Ovens is an OG. Big shout out to him. I kind of got my start with Sam Ovens. He doesn't do consulting anymore. He doesn't sell his course anymore. He has moved on to bigger and better things. He's got School, the platform, which I think is a phenomenal platform. I use it myself for my coaching program. And yeah, so, Sam's the OG. He's awesome. Another person who does this, now, Charlie Morgan teaches agencies how to, get more clients and stuff, but the actual model he's doing, because like I said, the agency model sucks when you try to scale it up, is coaching, right? He has a coaching business. He teaches people how to get clients with his coaching business, specifically SMMA agency owners. So he's another example of somebody who's doing this. He's doing like 1.3 million a month. He's absolutely crushing it. And another person who's doing this is Serge Guattari. He teaches people how to be a growth operator, and he says he's doing growth operating himself, but he's not. I don't know. He's got some goofy marketing stuff that he does. He's a great marketer, don't get me wrong, but what he's actually doing is coaching. That's what he's actually doing. There might be a tiny little bit of, service involved in his business, but what he's really doing is coaching. That's essentially what he's doing. And of course, hey, myself, who's that? Who's that guy on the screen? Yeah, myself. I'm also doing coaching as well. It is a hybrid model because I do have a service-based component inside of my coaching program, but it is scalable, right? I have a productized service and it's scalable. And so, yeah, I essentially do a coaching program that's like kind of a hybrid coaching / agency type of thing. So again, I teach people how to teach specifically coaches, consultants, agency owners, online service providers, growth partners, and anybody who sells high ticket products, essentially how to get more clients. So that's kind of what I help people with. So next one on the list is going to be kind of a full circle. We're going back to content creation, but we're going to do it outside of YouTube. Now, what I recommend here, guys, is you start off on YouTube. YouTube is kind of your sun, right, in your solar system of content creation. YouTube is the sun, and then you use the content you do from YouTube and you syndicate that content out to every other platform. That's what I recommend. That's what I teach people to do, because YouTube is the most important platform. It should get most of your attention. However, you shouldn't ignore the other platforms. This guy, for instance, got all the way up to about $4 million a month, and he was primarily using Instagram. Now, he was using multiple different accounts. He was using paid advertising, but still, really impressive how much money he was able to do on Instagram. I think it stopped working quite as well, and now he's doing like 1 to 2 million a month, but still, really, really good money. He's absolutely crushing it on Instagram. So another guy who's crushing it on Instagram is, let me see here, for some reason, Paul Alex. It's trying to get me to log in, is this guy right here, Paul Alex. So hopefully it'll just show his account. Yeah, there we go. So Paul Alex is another guy who's absolutely crushing it on Instagram. This guy, Bashur, teaches people how to do Amazon FBA. Paul Alex teaches people how to start ATM businesses. So open their own ATM and then also credit card processing businesses. I met this guy at a mastermind, really cool guy. And yeah, so Instagram is another way of absolutely crushing it. It's one of the other best platforms. But with that being said, YouTube, in any of these gurus will tell you, if they're being honest, that do every platform, YouTube is the platform that brings them the most leads. Like, it's the platform that absolutely crushes it for them. So YouTube is number one, but content creation in general, you shouldn't be ignoring the other platforms. You should be syndicating your content out, because you can get a good amount of clients from the other platforms. So these are the business models that actually work, guys. And the cool thing about making content and doing YouTube is they work in conjunction with every other business model extremely well. And all of these guys who are, saying you should do this business model and that business model, stop paying attention to what they're telling you and start paying attention to what they're actually doing. Same thing with me. Pay attention to what I'm actually doing. I'm making content, specifically YouTube content. That's what I'm focusing on. And that's how I'm absolutely crushing it, making 300K per month, right? And that's what these guys are doing as well, okay? So that's the secret. Cat's out of the bag. That's the secret. If you want to learn how to do it, book a call with me down in the description in the pinned comment below. Also, I'll put some free resources down there you can check out. And yeah, that's how it's done.